Hello everyone. This is a story about strength and kindness. A huge lion was sleeping under a big old tree. The tree stood deep in the green forest. Its leaves made a cool dark shade. The sun was high and warm that afternoon. The wind moved slow and soft through the grass. The lion's belly rose and fell in a steady beat. His golden mane spread out like a crown on the ground. He dreamed of running free across open plains. He dreamed of roaring and shaking the whole sky. He looked so big and peaceful at the same time. Birds sang quiet songs in the branches above. Nothing dared to bother the king of the beasts. Then a tiny mouse shot out from a nearby bush. She was young and quick and full of wild energy. She did not see the lion lying there at all. She was too busy running from her own small shadow. She ran straight up the lion's back leg. She skittered over his soft, warm belly. She reached his huge head and stopped right on his nose. The lion's eyes flew open with a sudden snort. His roar split the quiet air like a thunderclap. Every bird in the tree shot up into the sky. The mouse froze solid on the tip of his nose. She could not breathe. She could not blink. She just stared into those giant golden eyes. The lion sat up fast and shook his great head. The mouse tumbled down and landed on her back. Before she could move, a giant paw pinned her down. She was trapped flat against the hard, dry earth. The lion lowered his face until his hot breath washed over her. His whiskers twitched and his teeth gleamed white. "Who dares to wake me from my royal rest?" The mouse's whole body shook like a leaf in a storm. Her tiny voice came out in a thin, high squeak. "Oh, mighty king, please forgive me, please, I beg you. I did not mean to step on your noble nose. I was just so scared and running so fast. I never would have bothered you if I had seen you." The lion grunted and pressed his paw down just a little harder. "And why should I let you live after such a rude act?" The mouse squeezed her eyes shut and thought very fast. She knew her life hung by the thinnest thread. She remembered her mother telling her to always speak the truth. She opened her eyes and looked straight up at the lion. Because even the small can help the strong someday. You are the king of all you see and all you hear. One day you might need a friend like me. The lion stared at her for a long, quiet moment. He tilted his massive head from side to side. Then a deep rumble started in his wide chest. It grew and grew until it burst out as a laugh. His whole body shook with the sound of it. He laughed so hard that tears wet his eyes. He lifted his paw and wiped his face with the back of it. "You tiny speck of fur and dust. You really think you could ever help me? That is the funniest thing I have heard in years." The mouse scrambled to her feet but did not run yet. "I only speak what my heart believes is true." The lion shook his head, still smiling a little. "Go on then. Run back to your little hole. You are far too small to be my meal anyway. Let this be a lesson for your tiny feet." The mouse did not wait for him to change his mind. She bolted across the dry leaves and vanished into the brush. She did not stop running until she reached her cozy nest. She huddled there with her heart pounding hard. She whispered thanks to the sky and to the ground. She was alive and she would never forget this day. Many days passed and the forest went on as before. The lion hunted and slept and roared at the moon. The mouse gathered seeds and stayed far from Big Paws. She never forgot the lion's laugh or his golden eyes. But she also kept her promise close inside her heart. One morning the air felt heavy and strange. The birds were too quiet in the tall trees. The lion was out walking with his head held high. He stepped into a patch of soft green ferns. Suddenly the ground gave way under his huge weight. A hidden net made of thick rough rope snapped up tight. It closed around him like a giant spider's web. He roared in shock and tried to jump free. But the net only pulled tighter around his legs. He clawed at the ropes with all his might. The ropes cut into his pads and made them bleed. He bit at the knots with his sharp long teeth. The ropes only dug deeper into his golden fur. He twisted and turned and fought with all his strength. But the net was made for catching creatures like him. Every move he made just wrapped him up more. Soon he could not move a single leg or paw. He hung there swaying a little in the warm breeze. He was the king of the forest tied up like a common goat. He let out a long sad roar of pure frustration. The sound traveled far through the silent trees. It reached the tiny ears of the little mouse. She stopped chewing on a dry seed and listened hard. She knew that roar from the deepest part of her memory. It was the lion, the one who had let her live. Her heart did not even stop to think about fear. She dropped her seed and ran toward the sound. She ran over roots and under giant green ferns. She ran until her tiny legs burned with the effort. She found him hanging there helpless and tangled. His great head hung low and his eyes were closed. She saw the blood on his paws and the cuts on his fur. She saw the king brought down by simple rope and knot. She climbed up a nearby rock to get close to the net. She reached out and touched one of the thick rough strands. The rope was as big around as her whole body. Her teeth were small and meant for nibbling seeds. But she did not let that thought slow her down. She opened her mouth and set her teeth on the rope. She started to chew with everything she had. Her jaws ached after just a few short minutes. The rope was tough and it tasted like dry dirt. Little fibers stuck in her teeth and made her gums sore. She chewed and did not stop for a breath. The lion felt a tiny tug and opened one tired eye. He saw the mouse there working hard on the rope. He let out a sad sigh and closed his eye again. "Little one, you should go and save yourself. This net is far too strong for your small teeth." The mouse did not answer him at all. She just kept chewing and chewing and chewing. She thought about his laugh and his kind golden eyes. She thought about the promise she had made that day. She thought about how being small did not mean being weak. Her jaws burned and her neck grew stiff and sore. But she would not stop until the job was done. One tiny strand of the rope finally gave way. It snapped with a soft little popping sound. She moved to the next strand and started again. The hole grew a tiny bit bigger each minute. The sun climbed higher and the day grew hot. Sweat made her tiny fur stick to her skin. Her mouth was raw and every chew brought pain. But she kept going because the lion needed her. After what felt like forever, another strand broke. And then another, and then one more after that. The hole was now big enough for her to see through. She could see the lion's sad face on the other side. She chewed with a new burst of hope and energy. She chewed until her whole world was just rope and teeth and pain. Then with a final loud snap, a main cord broke. The net sagged open wide like a torn old sack. The lion felt the ropes loosen around his chest. He pushed hard with his strong back legs. He tumbled out of the net and landed on the soft ground. He lay there for a moment, just breathing deep. He was free and the solid earth felt wonderful. The mouse jumped down and stood on a flat stone nearby. Her fur was a wild mess full of dust and rope bits. Her little mouth was bleeding just a tiny bit. Her legs were shaking and she was so very tired. But her small dark eyes were shining bright and proud. The lion slowly got to his feet and shook out his mane. He looked down at the tiny creature on the stone. He saw her tired body and her torn little mouth. He saw the proof of her promise kept at great cost. He lowered his huge head until his eyes met hers. I laughed at you when you spoke of helping me. I called you a speck of fur and worthless dust. Today you showed me how blind and foolish I was. Your small teeth did what my mighty claws could not. You have saved my life and I am forever grateful. The mouse stood a little taller and puffed out her chest. I told you that even the small can help the strong. You gave me my life when you did not have to. I only gave back what I already owed to you. The lion nodded slowly with gentle understanding. I see now that strength is not just size or power. Strength is a brave heart that shows up when needed. Strength is keeping a promise no matter the cost. I will never forget this lesson or your kindness. From that day on, the lion and the mouse were true friends. They did not see each other every single day. But when they did pass by, they would stop and nod. The lion would lower his head in a quiet bow. The mouse would raise a tiny paw in a happy wave. They both knew that the smallest friend can change everything. They both knew that kindness is never ever wasted. And so the forest held a secret deep within its green heart. The secret that the mighty and the tiny need each other. So be kind to everyone you cross paths with today. You never know who might be the one to save your life. You never know whose small hands might lift you up. You never know whose small teeth might set you free. Even the smallest act of mercy can return to you tenfold. Even the quietest promise can roar louder than any lion. Thank you for listening to this old story with new ears. I hope it finds a soft place inside your own brave heart. I will see you very soon in the next story we share. Until then, be gentle and be strong in your own way. Goodbye for now and take good care of one another.
能以非母语者的身份专注学习到现在，这本身就是很棒的进步。真诚感谢你的观看。如果你觉得本期内容实用，点赞或留言让我知道你的想法，这对我持续创作非常重要。我们下期见。